The man drove the car when it was raining heavily outside. The businessman drove the car at great speed. The teenager drove the motorcar on the arcade machine. The dog drove the van to the holiday park while the rest of the family slept in the back. The rabbit drove the toy car. The mother and the son had a car race on the PlayStation. They drove their cars with their steering wheels. The man drove the 4x4 Land Rover through the puddle and caused a big splash. The driver drove the car straight ahead. The man drove a red shoe. The friends drove bumper cars at the amusement park. The driver drove his car on an icy road and in the snow. The driver drove on a winding road through the forest in the middle of the day. The man drove the car on the long desert highway. The happy family drove their go-karts around the track. The driver drove his car around the bend. The woman drove the car in the dark. The woman drove her car through a tunnel. The drivers drove their cars in the fog and with poor visibility. The driver drove his car while texting and sending text messages. The driver drove his car on the flooded road. The drivers drove their cars in the city at night. The farmer drove his tractor through a wheat field. The learned driver drove the car in between the cones on the road. The lorry driver drove his truck to the container depot to deliver his goods. The car drove itself. It is a self-driving car. It is a driverless car. The man drove his car while under the influence of alcohol. He was drink driving. The men drove their 4x4 Land Rovers in the desert. The golfer drove his golf buggy on the golf course. The bus driver drove his bus to the next bus stop. The man drove his camper van around Europe. The drivers drove their cars on the motorway. The man drove his car in the multi-story car park. The man drove his car into the garage. The man drove a Porsche on the country road. The man drove a red Ferrari.